Ilka Blue. I'm the videographer or video maker behind the scenes at the Off-Grid Kitchen, and I also happen to live off-grid. So I thought, considering we were making stories about people's experiences and their homes living off-grid, maybe I should tell mine. So this is my pad. You can see my little solar system up there. Oh, it's actually over there. I've been living off-grid since I was a little girl, and I have had stints in the city, living on mains and all of that stuff. Actually, I think it was Mike asked me the other day about my water bills, and you know, I've never paid a water bill in my whole entire life, something I feel very, very good about. I'm just going to take a little seat down here on my favourite log. So, yeah, when I took over this place and started doing it for myself, I guess the main thing that I was confronted by is actually how hard it is in terms of consuming physical and physical time and just the time that it takes to live off-grid. I wouldn't swap it, but it's definitely a lot of work. And when I was a kid, my mum was a single mum. She worked full-time, and we lived on a farm without even a solar system. It was so funny. She started off, I think, first of all, we had like a car battery, and Mum used to take it to work and put it on the charger at work, and she was always shuffling a battery backwards and forwards to work every day. Lots of candles and Caro lamps, and burnt myself a few times. I even burnt myself blowing up the generator, and was in hospital for 2 weeks with third-degree burns. But I guess the thing is that I never actually realised, because you're a kid, how much work it took. And I'm in even more awe of my mum now, because I parent half-time, and I work and I live here, and it's like, wow, how did my mum do all of that? So yeah, I guess that's the main thing I'm interested about in this channel and the stories that we're telling, is just people's different experiences, because they're all really diverse. And when people live off-grid, you know, there's a whole spectrum of the stuff that you might or you might not have that's connected to main services. So we're going to take a little walk, and I think I'm going to start with water, because for me, in my practice as a creative ecologist, I always like to start everything with water. So let's go and do that. So yeah, I live on a community. It's 900 acres, and there's about 14 shares. It's a community title, and each share has about 5 acres. I'm in northern New South Wales, near the border ranges, and I guess the main thing for me here that I love, which is why I'm here, is all the things that aren't human. So it's so diverse here. We've got lots of different tree species. We've also got lots of big environmental issues like bell minor dieback. We've got a great koala population. You can see this is timber stack. I've been milling my own timber. I have to show you my favourite. I'm very excited about this. I made these really big floorboards. It's not common anymore to make really wide floorboards. This is flooded gum. I had to chop this tree down so that there could be sun on the solar panels, and I'm making use out of it by creating some beautiful floorboards, which is going to go in my studio. Anyway, here we are. This is where the water comes to. We're really fortunate on this property to have access to a permanent spring, which is up on the mountain, and it's gravity fed. So my water day is today. Get a weekly roster of when you can, let's just have a look in there. I don't think you can see. I need to see though, do I need to fill it up? Yeah, it's pretty low. So we'll go and fill the water up. Okay, so this is the kind of really dodgily filmed story, but it's just because it's me and I'm kind of living and working while I'm filming it. One of the things I really love about living off grid, out where I am, is the community of people that you meet who are similarly sharing the same journey, and you learn so much from those people. So I was just thinking about my car. It's 33 years old and I only recently bought it. It's a bit of a bomb, but you know, it was like, okay, I got to get a car that I can pull logs with, I can go four-wheel driving in because I live in a four-wheel drive place, but I also need some comfort because I've got to be able to go to work, which is an hour away, and I want to be able to get there relatively quickly. So you just start thinking about, what actually is necessary? What do you need? How can you reduce waste? Is there something that has like multiple functions, like a car, for example? Or yeah, it's good. I've really been slowing down. I've had to slow down heaps and just thinking through the choices that I'm making and taking the time to make those choices. One, so I don't waste money, but really it's more about kind of trying to be as efficient and long-term as possible. All right, so we're at the bottom of my drive and I'm going to take you to where the water happens. So, yeah, that's my drive over there. I live up in the bush over there, and down here is the community spring line, and this is my little junction. And once a week, I don't actually use it that often, it's probably like once a month, I turn that fellow on and it begins to fill up my water tank. But also on our community, we have in our constitution that you need to have rainwater tanks because we like to minimise the use of the spring. I'm just going to show you this other thing here. So, I don't know if you can see it so well. Here we've got, it's about maybe 1 kilometre of plantings of these trees, and they're all koala food trees. It goes all the way down there and around the corner. And yeah, I guess that's one of the cool things about living this type of lifestyle. If you get to join a good community or have good neighbours who are like-minded, you kind of sink deeper into the things that are needed for this is my thinking anyway, for the greater philosophy of what it means to live beyond, outside the mainstream system. So, koalas are predicted by scientific data to be extinct by 2050, which is pretty confronting, and we're making the best efforts that we can here through planting more food trees for them that will be here in the future, but also doing lots of weeding and clearing so that they can have access to the food trees that are already in existence. It's quite bushy here, but yeah, there's still lots of environmental issues. It's I think sometimes people have the romantic idea that I'm going to go off grid and it's going to be really it's going to be a step into not doing this kind of mainstream rat wheel thing, and actually I think what happens is it just opens up even more awakening and realizations of the amount of things that we need to do, both culturally and ecologically. Anyway, there's someone coming. Yeah, so I'm not sure whether my completely dodgy filming is because I'm filming myself. But anyway, so the water takes maybe about an hour or two to fill that tank that you saw up the top. And that'd last me and the little girl I look after probably about don't know, 5 weeks. 5 weeks. And that's like our daily showering. I don't have a washing machine here. I wash in town, partly because I don't have a big enough solar system to run a washing machine, but also I kind of like the idea of sharing resources. I feel like, you know, what's the point of everybody having a washing machine when we could just like have one or a bunch of them and everybody uses that. Anyway, so what I want to show you now is the studio that I'm building where those beautiful floorboards are going to be used. Really love this. We used, with this build, every tree that we used was affected by the Bell minor associated dieback, BMAD, and that means that they were on their way to pretty much dying. So that feels pretty good that these trees were kind of repurposed. So this is going to be the deck. It's just going to be a one-room studio, but it's an old way of building. Or it's not the stud and frame. It's more about the post and beam. I think I've got the terminology. See, that's the thing with living off grid. Oh yes, white ants has been an issue with white ants. Is that basically you really have to learn everything. You have to learn how to be a builder, you have to learn how to deal with white ants, you have to learn about water, you have to learn about where your wastewater and your toilet goes, how you're going to navigate your compost in terms of all the animals that come around. Power, like I have a really small solar system and I don't use much anyway. It's enough for me just having, you know, 3 lights max on at night time. I can charge my computer at night if I need to, but I pretty much always do that during the day. That's about the extent of the power that I use. Just bought an electric chainsaw, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah, what else can I show you? I really have an issue with these weeds here, which I've been trialling and experimenting, getting rid of them. This patch has kind of been all right. I went to just up in the forest and I dug out some lomandras and I divvied them up and I've replanted them. This is about a year's worth of growth. Then down over here, this was an epic fail, all of that space down in here. I hand weeded to bare earth and I planted native grasses for insects because I thought this would be like a food section for insects down here. Because really my idea of, you know, we can call it living off grid, but my idea of living more in balance with nature is to provide food for nature as well as for ourselves. But anyway, this blue weed, like I hand weeded it down to dirt, planted the grass in and look, it's just come back like a mat. But I guess, you know, the positive thing is that this whole area here, you know, like here all the way through, pretty much to where my fingers are, this was all lantana. It was a wall of lantana. So this has all grown back. We've got native mulberry bushes in here, which the birds love when it's in fruit. You know, these foam barks have come up. They were seedlings. Well, they weren't even seedlings when I started. They didn't exist. So yeah, it's really, it does make a huge difference. You've just got to, I think living off grid, you've just got to really relax into the fact that things take time and you've just got to do, you know, step by step. And that's something that I've found quite difficult, just going, okay, this is long term, but really that's how I think humans and cultures used to live much more sustainably because they had the big picture and the long term as part of their daily rhythm, whereas we've just got this like internal rush and need to kind of get stuff done so instantly. It doesn't work in nature. That's not how it works. All right, now to the solar system. So this is my really small solar system that Mike actually did a video on a couple of months back. Put that in the feed for you if you're interested. And you know, it's good. It's here underneath my rodent-proof bins. There's a lot of creatures living here. Not many humans and a lot of creatures. Anyway, let's have a look at the batteries. So here are the batteries. And pretty much that's what powers my whole 2 cabins. You know, I'm building here a new section, so this is kind of interesting if you're thinking about going off grid. So yeah, this is a 3-way fridge. I've got a little bar fridge in the other cabin, and I'd make do with a bar fridge. You know, I had an esky before that. It also takes me back to my childhood, when we had an esky and then an ice box and a gas fridge. But yeah, I don't have a strong enough solar system to run a full-powered fridge. So I found this 3/4 size 3-way fridge, and I would be able to run it off solar during the day and then change it over to gas in the evening. So this is my groovy little cabin. This is my, didn't actually clean it up before I started filming. It's what you're doing when you work full-time and live off-grid. It's very busy. Yeah, so I use this. I've only just started. I try and wait till, I don't know, maybe midwinter to start using it. I really do try to get acclimatised to the cold before I start freaking out and putting the fire on because it's too cold. Because I think that's I don't want to use heaps of wood, even though there's heaps of wood here. I don't want to be dependent. I want to try and really live with the elements as much as I can. But I also have a mouse issue at the moment with the plague that's hit the East Coast. I cook off this gas stove. That's my main thing. I love baking cakes. I've really been thinking about, when I put the new kitchen in, what I can do instead of the gas stove. I don't know. I don't know if I'd light a fire just to bake a cake, and I don't know whether I could afford a really good stove at this point, a fire stove that would bake a good cake. I know, these are all the things you've got to consider when you live off grid. How to bake good cakes. Okay, so we've done water, we've done power, we've done power kind of through cooking and heat as well. We've done transport with my old 33-year-old car. Living out here is not really the option of public transport at all. But yeah, well, I've got this other cool car. Can I show you? I've been having this funny conversation about how it's kind of a bit of conflict to be an environmentalist and be a petrol head at the same time. So I kind of solved that issue by this awesome car. Little Wad. Whole 700cc. Yeah, like I reckon fill it up, $25, lasts for about 2 weeks. So that's always an option when you when you want to reduce your footprint, but you still love driving cars. So yeah, power, water, energy, transport. Well, food is probably the other thing, and I don't have a food garden. I tried last winter, and I don't get enough sun here. Like, where are we? We're June. We're almost at the winter solstice, and it's maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And if I show you here, there's no sun on any of this area at all, and this would be the only place where I did try a garden over there last winter. The plan is to, up behind the cabins, which is the only place where it gets sun all year round, is to do veggie gardens up the back there, and I'm going to do an orchard down the front near where I showed you the water. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing I've been finding living on the land or living off grid, if you really try and like tune into it, is in order for me to put the veggie garden up the back, I've got to cut down 2 huge gum trees. One of them particularly is affected by a bell minor dieback, and it gets pretty scary in the wind. And so I don't think these are things to rush into. Either, I think it's really good to take your time, especially when you're working with nature, and especially, when you're working with things that are living and provide whole habitats for other creatures as well. It's like I'm really learning and trying to reduce my impact, and I know I am having an impact, and it's kind of, it's inevitable when we live in this society and we don't really have the learnings or the larger cultural living style that is more sensitive to nature. So at the moment I feel good about just buying local produce in town. It's really yummy and it's supporting other people, local growers, and yeah, that feels good. I feel like I'm making enough change in other areas that kind of balances out. Yeah, I don't know if I'm a food gardener. I don't think I am. I think I'm more of I love planting trees and bushes and native stuff here. Anyway, so that's my off-grid story, and hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to you joining us for more stories from other people. All right, see ya.